everybody. Welcome back to the Thoughts Distilled talk show from homebar.io. I'm Kevin, and with me as always is You're not Justin.
I am not.
Well, this is a very exciting day, folks. We have Devin on the show today. Devin, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Devin is the other third of homebar.io. We're a small team, just a 3-person team. And Devin contributes to all of the reviews, the rapid reviews, the articles, the tastings, and many other things behind the scenes. So she's going to be with us today, and you're going to be seeing her more in front of the camera from here on out. So we're going to be talking today about Larceny Barrel Proof. So you did a little bit of research on this one, Devin, so tell us a little bit about what you found out.
Yeah, so this is Larceny Barrel Proof, C922. We got this at MSRP, which in Michigan is $59.99. This is the third batch of 2022. It was distilled in September of this year.
Yeah, and so as we know, this is one of those releases that happens throughout the year, right? They have a few of them. Like you said, this is the third one.
Yeah, so typically it's January, May, and September is the release of this particular bourbon.
Okay, yeah, and so that's like it was the A, B, and C that they do every year.
Yeah, A, B, and C.
Yeah, okay. And so this one is pretty interesting because it's a little bit special, right? Because they have varying proofs, obviously, for each batch. But this one is the highest
it is
that they've ever done.
Coming in at 126.6 out of the 9 expressions that they've had so far since 2020. This is the highest that they've had. So it's kind of hot. But...
Yeah. We did, as you can see, we did pop this open. Took a very quick, neck pour just to try it. But we're very excited to get into it again. Sometimes the flavors can change. And we had just a very small amount of it because we're very excited about it. Now, the one thing that's also good about this one, or I guess an interesting note, is that Breaking Bourbon, which is one of our favorite sites also to look at, and they're very well known in the bourbon world, they said that this was their favorite bottle of 2022. So... it comes with it, kind of high hopes, high expectations, and even in our home state, it was, some of the places that were kind of the retailers that were in the know put it up an extra $10, $15 just because they knew that Breaking Bourbon had said some, really great things about it. So we're just going to go ahead and do our own little version, see what we think about it, crack it open, and let you guys know.
Yeah.
So let's get to pouring.
Okay. Yeah, I actually found this bottle at a local liquor store, and they had all of the 2022 expressions, and I kind of had to go through to find which one I wanted, which was the C1 2022, or C9 2022.
Right. Yeah.
And so I had to kind of dig for it, and I found it, and it was the last one, so... I was pretty excited.
It's funny.
It was a good find.
Yeah, it's funny because some of the stores were kind of in the know, and then those are the ones that kind of put it up an extra, $10 or $15. But some of them had no idea.
Nope.
And so it was just like you said, it was kind of buried even on the shelf, and there were the different versions and the different batch numbers. Yeah. But you're able to kind of go and look
dig
back
through.
there and find C922. All right, so let's just go ahead and get on the nose here, see what we can get on it. Yeah, I can already tell you, immediately...
It's opened up a little bit.
It has. And I would say that immediately, just, tons of caramel.
Yep. Right
up front. It's just, kind of a caramel bomb.
I'm getting a lot of bacon spice.
Yeah, I am as well. And, yeah, there's some oak in there, too. I definitely get some oak. Yeah. But, similar, of course, we read the Breaking Bourbon review. Obviously can't stay away from it when those guys, do their big... reveal of what they like this year, and knowing that we didn't have this one at the time that they did the review, was super curious. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a lot of what I would consider typical bourbon notes. Like we said, caramel, baking spice, and some oak, but it's really good. It's very, powerful and definitely.
The nose is very nice.
Anything else you're getting on there? I'm getting a little bit of brown sugar too.
Yeah.
But really, on the nose, it's not there aren't any particularly intriguing notes. It's just that there's a lot of good, typical bourbon flavor notes. Or aromas, I should say. All right. Well, you want to get into it?
Sure.
All right. Cheers. Well, the power's definitely there.
Yeah. Woo.
It's got a lot of bit of proof to it.
Yeah.
It's warm, but one thing I noticed as soon as I put the glass down was there's some legs to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely got a decent mouthfeel.
Yeah.
It's got a good mouthfeel. You know, there's definitely the Kentucky Hug for sure at 126 proof.
It's perfect for winter.
Yeah, definitely where we're at here in Michigan. This is great. But yeah, on the palate, for sure a lot of those things are translating through. I'm getting the caramel pretty heavy still. I'm getting, the brown sugar. I'm getting all that other stuff. Some vanilla in there, which is a little bit different than what I got on the nose, but yeah.
I'm getting a lot of peanut. Dry roasted peanut.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which is actually one of my favorite tasting notes, is the dry peanuts.
I get that too. I do. Definitely on the palate, like on the front part of the palate, you get more of that, and it kind of actually goes through to the finish as well. I would say that there is more baking spice, I think, on the finish than you would get on the palate. But yeah, definitely like dried roasted peanuts, or kind of like a nuttiness, like a dry nuttiness on there. Yeah, it's really good.
I like it.
I think in Breaking Bourbon's review they said something, I'm trying to remember, like there was a pretty important note that they had, and I don't know if it was like waffles and syrup or something like that.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that a little bit, but I would say what seems to be dominating the palate more to me is what you said of those. I do get a nuttiness, for sure. I totally get that, which is one thing that when we first popped it, did the neck pour, we noticed.
Oh, yeah.
We absolutely noticed that. And it's sticking around. Like, we still, even though we let it breathe a little bit, we're still noticing that.
Yeah, because you popped it, I think it was probably the beginning of the week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's been open for a few days now, just to breathe and
and when
get some air in.
When we first tried it, we did let it breathe and then kind of let it rest in the glass for a few minutes, and then obviously come back, and see what transpired. I didn't change all too much necessarily, and we're not seeing too much of a difference, but it is still very good. Whether it would be our whiskey of the year, I don't know about that. I think it's definitely good. But yeah, I mean, I think we've personally had some pretty great bottles this year. Things like Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend, just some really great things that we kind of... Seagrass is another great example. We loved Angel's Envy Rye.
Oh my gosh.
Just because it was so unique.
So good.
Yes. So those were some great ones that, we did reviews on. But I'm kind of curious to see how this stacks up to other Larcenys. We have, one of the older Larcenys as well.
We actually have the first release, the A120, which we actually tried in Lexington. I think it was October 2019, so it was early release.
Before it was even released to the general public.
Yep. So we tried it at a liquor barn, and it was so good.
Or I should say before it was distributed, not released to the general public. So yeah, it was
so good.
Specifically got to liquor barn before. Yeah, it was in late 2019.
Yep.
And it was great. It was like so new. We were so excited for it because we're like, hey, this is Larceny, which we knew very much about.
Yep.
This is the barrel proof version, and of course we know it's gonna have a little bit extra punch. So yeah, how about this? So let's go right back, and we'll go and grab A120 or whatever it was, and then we'll try that and then compare them.
Sure.
Awesome.
As we were sitting here pouring the A120, I was getting some black tea at the very finish.
Oh, okay.
So as it kind of sat on my palate, maybe a couple of minutes, you got some black tea notes that came through.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think it did kind of evolve a little bit on the palate, kind of like the long finish, which is funny because some whiskeys will do that.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, this is the one that we wanted to go pick up specifically right as soon as it was available to us. I think when we did go to Liquor Barn and it was like before like a general distribution, I want to say that the price was like super expensive.
Oh yeah, I think it was around $300.
Yeah, it was.
Because I remember we looked into it and it was just not not in the budget.
It was just too much. Yeah, we really enjoyed it, but it was just too much.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make sure when it actually was distributed that we grabbed one. So we did. And for our Larceny tastes, this one we really like. So let's just put it up against it and see what comes of it. So this is the 120.
Coming in at 123.3 proof.
Right. So it's a little, obviously it's a bit old.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
fruit.
I definitely get a little bit of deeper notes, but see, I also get more oak on this one. I feel like it's a little bit oakier.
I'm getting like dark caramel. Not like normal caramel, but like dark caramel.
Yeah,
like a dark
weird.
note.
I'm getting like a kind of like a dark brown sugar on it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the other one had it too, but it's also in some ways like softer as well, which is really interesting. I know it's just a 3 proof points less, but I mean, yeah, I'm getting fruit. I'm starting to get some fruit out of there. I feel like I get a little bit of banana, to be honest.
I can see that. Like a banana bread.
Yes. Yeah, or like bananas Foster because you got the caramel on there. It's like that caramelized, like sugary kind of thing going on. All right, well, let's go in. I'm really,
Cheers.
I'm really curious. So this one's got a little bit more pepper spice. A little bit more of a bite to it.
I
This
would
one
say white pepper.
I don't know. I might say black pepper.
Yeah.
Because for me, it is a little bit more of a bite than a white pepper would be. But I mean, I'm thinking, so for this guy, I didn't get as much of the pepper in it as this had more baking spice. This is a little bit more pepper. I mean, there's baking spice in both. There's a little bit of pepper in both, but this one has a bias towards the pepper. This one has a bias, towards those other notes, right?
Yeah.
Those baking spice notes. But I think this one might be a little bit oakier to me, like a drier oak.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What else? You said some fruit. Is that translating on the palate at all for you? Because it's not as much for me as I had on the nose. Like, I'm not getting as much bananas Foster. Let me try again.
I'm not getting much on the palate. I'm trying to like...
Yeah. So, I think this one is maybe more pleasant on the nose.
Yes.
Has a little bit more going on. This is your standard bourbon on the nose, which is great. We love that. But on the palate, I'm thinking that this one edges it out. I think it is a little bit better personally.
Yeah.
I should clarify. This is the C922 that I'm talking about that edges it out, simply because it provides more depth of flavor. I think, like I said, this one's oaky, and if you like dry oak, obviously, that's gonna be kind of your wheelhouse there. But I think as far as the flavors, the powerful flavors of bourbon that you get, I like this one better. So, per what we know about Larceny, I guess it would be our favorite Larceny. We've only got a couple of them here, but yeah, I think that's the great thing about Larceny is you really can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Especially the barrel proof. Definitely great expression.
They're so different too.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely are. All right. Well, any other final thoughts on this tasting? Anything else you want to let the world know about Larceny other than you love it?
No, I think that's about it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, folks. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give us a like. And if you want to see more content just like this, make sure to subscribe. We have a great website called homebar.io where we post all of our articles, all of our reviews, all of our rapid reviews are there too. And you can sign up for our newsletter to hear about what's going on in homebar.io's world. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.